as we know, we're here today for a judicial debate between the two candidates who will be running for the election here in November for the open seat on the Fresno County Superior Court bench.
For anything that's come up in this campaign, whether it's been reported by the newspaper or television or reported to you by your volunteers that you would like to address?
I think one of the first rules of the rumor mill is that you don't give it additional credence by repeating the rumors, and the rumors that I have heard, including this email that was sent by undisclosed persons recently. There have been a number of hit pieces and things that have been sent around. However, some of the claims are so outrageous, they're so numerous, they're so absurd that I don't think that they deserve being responded to, and I don't think they have any place in a judicial election. That being said, I have no intention to obfuscate any of the issues. If anyone has any concerns about anything that they've heard about me, I am happy to address it privately. I just simply don't want to repeat absurd rumors that have been spread.
I think that the problem is becoming exasperated. I think a lot of us are feeling frustration, and we're all into this belief that we're overworked, and we have delved into this culture of continuances. I think that we're too liberal in granting continuances, and when you continue matters, that just means that the courts become more and more congested. Just looking at the numbers, we're releasing 50 to 60 a day. I've seen it as low as the mid-40s. Sites certainly are going up. But keep in mind that of those that are early released, 25 to 30% of those will never see the courthouse because no charges are going to be filed. 60 to 70% of those individuals are failing to appear at their assigned dates from the early release desk, and consequently it's not really impacting the courts, because what it amounts to is about 10 to 20 new cases each month per every home court. So I think we have to look at the continuances. The population in the jail that we're seeing is relatively stale as far as those people who are coming in and out of court for pre-prelim, over and over again, and for preliminary hearing. It's the same population we're seeing in the courtroom. We just need to move those cases quicker.
Well, I think that they are trying to come up with very creative ways and working very diligently to try to address those issues, and they have done it somewhat effectively. The numbers actually have changed. If you consult with the presiding judge now, or if you consult with Judge Chittick, she'll tell you that the numbers have been reduced from an average of about 55 a day to about 32 a day, which is still unacceptable, but there have been judges who've been working very hard at coming up with creative solutions, including Judge Chittick, Judge Gabe, Judge Conklin, and Judge Alvarez, who came up with certain ideas such as taking the time between holding someone to answer on a preliminary hearing, and that would be on the initial complaint, and then instead of having a 2-week delay between then the arraignment on the formal information, they then deem the complaint the information. That saves 2 weeks right there. So that's 14 days of jail bed space that is being that is being opened up by those creative solutions. I think that to say that we just need to speed cases up and it is a stale population in the jail, while that's correct, you have to look at the reasons for the delays. And when you have a public defender's office that has 4 times the felony caseload as national standards recommend, that's problematic, because even if a judge decides to say, well, I'm not going to find this acceptable, counsel, proceed. I don't care that you haven't had time to interview your client and haven't investigated thoroughly. And if that case proceeds to trial based on that judge's decision, it will likely get overturned on appeal for ineffective assistance of counsel. It will be a monumental waste of time and resources. The victims in the case will have to be dragged back into court again to testify in another trial that will be infinitely harder to prove a few years down the road. So I think we need to do it right, do it the first time. There are a lot of issues, including funding all aspects of the court system that are essential to dealing with this problem. Thank you.
Thank you. And
the number of the jail early releases are only reduced because the agencies are siting out. It's not because the population is moving any quicker in the jail. Reducing time for arraignment by 2 weeks, really, it's a valiant effort, but it's not going to have any effect when cases are continuing for months and months and months and years. The district attorney's office likewise is overburdened and overworked. Traditionally has a higher caseload than any other office in the state. But I think is interesting to note is that if there is good cause that is shown, then set it to a date certain. I think we play around with a pre-prelim and we waste a lot of attorney time waiting in court for those cases to call. Furthermore, I will say that Mr. Chumo's office, they are overburdened as well, and they by far try more cases, homicide cases, than the public defender's office. The public defender's office is only responsible for 25% of those murder cases this year. Mr. Chumo for over half.
And,
The vast majority of the cases that are being handled in the Fresno County Courthouse are not homicide cases. Chumo is getting a certain percentage of those. However, if you look at the day-to-day felony calendars, my husband happens to be in a home court where he sees an average of 120 felony filings a day. That simply is an overburdened system. And when you do have public defenders that have 30 people, 40 people that they're supposed to visit in a jail, and they're not assigned to one courtroom, so they don't actually have a client that they follow. There has been a case recently that my husband had where a defendant has sat in the jail for many, many months and has seen 5 different public defenders in his courtroom. None have seen him in the jail because they're not assigned his case because they're so understaffed. And the new district attorney-elect, as part of her platform that she ran on, she described the fact that the public defender's office is inadequately staffed, it is clogging up the system, and it's just the reality.